The legitimate limits to freedom of expression, the Rabat Plan of Action on the Prohibition of Incitement to Hatred. Freedom of expression is a fundamental right, indispensable in democratic societies. This right is both enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as well as in Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or ICCPR, which gives everyone the right to freedom of expression, regardless of frontiers and through any media of their choice. However, freedom of expression is not an absolute right and may be lawfully restricted according to certain principles and conditions. Besides the limitations and safeguards included in Article 19, Article 20 of the ICCPR specifies that certain kinds of speech must be prohibited by law, such as propaganda for war and advocacy of national, racial, or religious hatred that incites discrimination, hostility, or violence. Incitement to hatred is such an example of unprotected speech. But how do we determine when speech becomes incitement to hatred and therefore is illegal? The United Nations Rabat Plan of Action provides a comprehensive set of factors for states to address this issue, drawing a clear line between freedom of expression and incitement to hatred and violence. Coordinated by the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and adopted in October 2012, the Rabat Plan of Action proposes a 6-part threshold for courts to test whether a speech may be prohibited or punished. This threshold is measured by 1. The context of incitement to hatred, which assesses if a speech is likely to incite discrimination, hostility, or violence against the target group by having a direct bearing on intent and/or causation. 2. The speaker's position or status in society in the context of the audience of the speech. 3. The intent of the speech, which distinguishes advocacy or incitement from mere distribution or circulation of material. 4. Its content or form, determining the degree to which the speech was provocative and direct, as well as the style and nature of the arguments. 5. Its extent, which determines the reach of the speech, its public nature, magnitude, and the size of its audience. And 6. The likelihood of causing harm, determining if there was a reasonable probability that the speech would successfully incite direct action against the target group. Through this 6-part threshold, national and regional courts may conduct a thorough analysis of the severity of cases of hate speech, as aligned with international human rights standards. In the case where a certain type of speech is deemed unlawful, the Rabat Plan of Action advises to prioritize civil or administrative sanctions as opposed to criminal sanctions, whenever possible. The Rabat Plan of Action thus represents an important step in defining state obligations to prohibit incitement to hatred, while protecting the right to freedom of expression. To engage and know more, visit our website and learn about UNESCO's work.